Okay, so this NFL season, the 2022-2023 season, has potential to be one of the most crazy, insane seasons we've ever seen in NFL history. With so many players and teams and coaches moving in the offseason, the entire league is going to look completely different than it did just last year. And with that being said, I thought it would be cool to look at each NFL team and see how their new additions could shape their team into looking this year. So let's get right into it, and we're going to start with the AFC teams first. Alright, so this Ravens team is a weird one to project for sure. I mean, last year this was a team that lost 7 of their last 8 games by 1 possession and was with Tyler Huntley for more than half those games. Tyler Huntley! And that's also on top of the fact that the bubonic plague was able to resurrect itself back into Ravens training camp as they lost too many crucial players to even count before the season even started. So with the Ravens, we know the talent's there, as last time this team was healthy, they had that whole stomping on logos playoff win thing with the Titans, and then lost to the Bills in the following round after a weird COVID year, so take that for what you will. But going into this year, they did lose a few quality guys like Deshaun Elliott and Bradley Bozeman, but they picked up other guys like Kyle Fuller and Marcus Williams, as well as Kyle Hamilton and others from the draft. Now, we know this Ravens team has talent, but can they stay healthy? Well, I guess we'll just have to see, but it ain't looking great so far is all I'm gonna say. Hopefully for their sake, they can return back to a run-heavy offense, and maybe we can even see some flashes of the 2019 team, but with a new defensive coordinator and the fact that the medical team might need a raise with the amount of injuries this team gets, it seems unlikely. Oh, the Steelers. Let's see who their starting quarterback is going to...
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Okay, look, I'm not trying to be mean on purpose, but these teams just make it so easy. But in all seriousness, there's no way this Steelers team finishes anything ahead of dead last in the AFC North. Although they picked up guys like Miles Jack and the aforementioned MVP, they also lost team veterans like Joe Hayden and human role model Ben Roethlisberger, who admittedly was just dragging his rotting carcass around the gridiron, but still the culture is definitely going to be different in Pittsburgh with him gone. And clearly, this isn't a bad team, which still has one of the best players in football on the roster in Mitchell Trubisky, and they also have a guy named TJ Watt. Najee Harris will not be able to carry this offense behind a rancid O-line, and although they have some very talented receivers, they're gonna need a lot of good luck catching Trubisky's precise lasers that have an infinitely higher chance of nailing some drunk-ass Steelers fan in the crowd. Man, maybe I need to be nicer. Okay, nah, they're still finishing last in their division. Oh, you'll never have a quarterback. So this is a Bengals team that obviously just came off of an incredible Cinderella run all the way to the Super Bowl, only to have Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and the Zebras drag their nuts all across their faces, ruining your best chance at a Super Bowl since the 1980s. So the question I have for you, Bengals, is how do you respond to this? And I think the answer to this question is, on paper at the very least, the Bengals should be even better than they were last year. I love their decision to bolster their O-line as much as possible by bringing in 2 big strong men in La'el Collins and Ted Karras, as well as a blocking tight end in Hayden Hurst. And if we look on the bright side, Joe Burrow should be an MVP candidate, squeezing every last drop of talent out of his big 3 of Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, while the defense does its job, and maybe, just maybe, the Bengals can take revenge and get some sweet, sweet redemption and take home the Lombardi for the first time in franchise history. But with that being said, this Bengals team should be a contender and fun to watch at the very least, something that Bengals fans should treasure. Trust me, they really should. So this Bills team has got to be the team with the most hype going into this year, and I gotta say, to me at least, it's all warranted and more. Now, as the guy who correctly predicted that the Rams would win the Super Bowl last year, and ignore the fact that I said Stafford would win MVP, but the point is, I'm a proven expert at this kind of stuff, and I guarantee the Bills will win the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's not going to backfire. In the draft, the Bills added a young running back in James Cook, who can hopefully bring a little more of a punch to this offense than the guys that are currently playing his position. And now that they have Von Miller and hopefully get a healthy Tre'Davious White coming back from injury, that is enough to me to be labeled as the best team in the NFL. Oh yeah, and they also have the best quarterback-wide receiver duo in the league, the MVP favorite, one of the best coaches in the league, and the best wide receiver of all time, apparently to some of y'all. But fine, if I'm going to be mean to all teams, it should be said that the Bills' defense, although sturdy, has always struggled against high-powered offenses, and maybe Allen and the rest of the offense aren't able to adjust to new offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey as well as we think. So unless this goober doesn't everything up, the Buffalo Bills should at the very least make the AFC Championship game. Just don't let me down, please. So the Patriots are such a weird team to analyze, because on one hand, the team really doesn't have much proven talent compared to the other squads in their division, and on the other hand, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine is still the captain of the ship, so I guess that will always give the Patriots a fighting chance. And like damn near every Patriots team that ever existed, besides last year's team, they really didn't make any free agent signings that moved the needle for them, and their entire team game plan is going to be just outlasting their opponents and making less mistakes than them. You know, the classic Belichick style. But with the second hardest schedule in the entire league and way too many negative reports coming from training camp about Mac Jones than you'd like to see, I think this is the year the captain might just go down with the ship, and because of that, I don't see the Patriots making the playoffs. So there is a chance that those poor Patriots fans are going to somehow endure their second non-playoff season in 13 years. Man, that sounds rough. But don't worry, Patriots fans, you're still not the Jets. Now, I'm not gonna lie, for a split second or so, you had some hope, Jets fans. Zach Wilson had some hype going for him. Now, God knows why he had that hype in the first place, but he did, and at some point in the summer, everyone and their mom was hyping up Zach Wilson. Anyways, after some conflicting training camp reports, the hype turned to concern quickly, and now everyone's favorite local MILF detector is going to be injured for the foreseeable future. So, what now, Jets? Because from everything I've seen, it seems like the Jets might just repeat the exact same thing they did 2 years ago with Neckbeard. How long are the Jets willing to wait and see if Zach Wilson's the guy? Cause if a crippled Zach Wilson trots onto the field and puts on anything near to those heinous performances he mustered in the beginning of last year, then the Jets better move on from him fast. But Wilson's not your only problem, as your brick wall of a lineman is also reportedly gone for the year. So unless Sauce Gardner is the second coming of Darrelle Revis immediately, it could be yet again another long rebuilding year. So, good luck, I guess. Now, this division's complete uncertainty just keeps spiraling out of control, because let me introduce you to the most volatile team in the NFL by a mile and a half, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins have so many question marks that can equally be filled with success and fortune or just utter sludge and failure. This Dolphins team is literally just a coin flip to me. And after an offseason that was filled with severe tampering problems, they were somehow able to bring in guys like Tyreek Hill, who will have a lot to prove after his divorce with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So, was Tyreek Hill a product of the Chiefs' offense and Mahomes' talent, or is he actually just that dominant? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that's not even close to all the unanswered questions with this Miami team. Will the third youngest head coach in the NFL in Mike McDaniels be able to cater schemes to talent he already has on his offense? And will new acquisition Teron Armstead be enough to carry an otherwise lackluster O-line? And how will this awkward running back committee be able to revolve around that? But yeah, all those questions are alarming and could contribute to the crashing and burning of this Miami Dolphins team eventually, but truly everything, and I mean everything, rides on the development of Tua Tagovailoa. If Tua can't improve, then it's over. All of it. Tua has all the keys to this Dolphins franchise and has been given more than enough toys to play with. So, can you do it? Because God help me if the living embodiment of the word mid, Teddy Bridgewater, ends up replacing Tua halfway through the season, then consider the season a lost cause, Miami. I mean, what do you want me to say? I really like them taking Derek Stingley Jr. in the draft, and I think he undoubtedly has potential to be even the best corner in the league at some point, but that's kinda it. I mean, they have the least talented offense in the entire league, and your starting running back as of right now is Rex Burkhead. Rex Burkhead. But to be fair to this Texans team, they do have a ton of young talent, so I guess there's a chance this team could be something, but no chance they make the playoffs. And unless the Loch Ness Monster at quarterback is able to make an existential leap in year 2, this team isn't going to do anything. But David Johnson is gone, so hopefully you can completely wash your hands of the butt-chin's fingerprints. Enjoy going 4-13. Colts, please, can you not let anything like last year ever happen again? I'm not even a Colts fan, but that last game in Jacksonville has got to be the most embarrassing, spineless sporting event I've seen in years. And what really has changed for you guys going into this year? Since Andrew Luck has retired, the Colts have just been grabbing mediocre quarterbacks off the streets and expect them to fill the shoes of the man who's never coming back to save them. And no, dragging Matt Ryan's senile pile of flesh into blue and white is not going to save you. He's just Phillip Rivers 2.0. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'll talk nicely now. Yes, there's a chance that Matt Ryan has a resurgence, and although losing Rock Ya-Sin does hurt, their defense is still going to be scary, led by Shaq Leonard. And if Indianapolis can pounce on their prey early, then they will be able to utilize arguably the best running back in the league in Jonathan Taylor behind one of the sturdiest O-lines in the league just to beat down and fatigue teams to death. I just wonder how long until the Colts decide they truly need a franchise quarterback. But if they prove Matt Ryan is somehow going to be different than Phillip Rivers, then fine. But I just don't see the Colts exceeding a first-round exit at best. All hail Jonathan Taylor. Look, the Jaguars are finally free of everyone's favorite moral superhero and lapdance scholar, so they get a full year without Trevor Lawrence under the chains of Urban Meyer. The Jags also did what they could to get Trevor Lawrence some help, for better or for worse, signing some serviceable talent to, at the very least, put up weapons on the field. But I think the Jags will also be able to utilize their tight ends well, as they did hire Doug Peterson, a guy who loved to use his tight ends during his up and down time in Philadelphia. And their drafting has been fine. Hopefully Etienne and Travon Walker can be everything they've been hyped up to be, but honestly, that's where the nice things I say have to stop. The Jaguars are going to be trash, and that's pretty much it. Just don't ruin Trevor Lawrence, please. So this Titans team really scares me, and not in a good way at all. This has been a team that has relied very heavily on Derrick Henry, and with him coming off of an injury that kept him out for a significant amount of time, there is a very good chance that the Derrick Henry we've known for the last half a decade is gone forever. And with their top two receivers in A.J. Brown and I guess like 1/4 of Julio gone, as well as an O-line looking like it's on the cusp of unraveling completely, this Titans team could really let some people down this year, is what I would say if this absolute football messiah was not their coach. Mike Vrabel just came off of a well-deserved Coach of the Year award, and if I had to pick one man to lead this uncertain Titans team into the future, it would be Sean McVay, but Vrabel's cool too. Anyway, Ryan Tannehill should also continue to be a steady enough quarterback to steal some wins, and this Titans team should be just fine. Maybe. Probably. They're gonna run Derrick Henry into the ground, aren't they? I know how to make the ground go crazy. Okay, so literally just like the Colts. What the was that, Kansas City? God, I just don't have the energy for this anymore. Just don't do whatever the hell that was again, Mahomes. But this is a Chiefs team that is relatively similar to last year's team. I mean, they lost Tyrann Mathieu and Tyreek Hill decided to take his talents to South Beach, but that's really not as big of a hit to the team as people think. Because the truth about this Chiefs team is really only one man matters, and that guy is the most talented quarterback in the history of the NFL, and he's a good enough player to carry any team he wants. And with Travis Kelce still there, Andy Reid still there, that's really all you need in a Super Bowl contending team. But with that being said, the biggest problem this Chiefs team will face is not with their roster construction, but how much of a bloodbath the AFC West is going to be, as well as the fact that they have the hardest schedule in the entire NFL. And unfortunately for every team in the AFC West, the team who wins this division could very likely come down to a single win, or what team has the least amount of injuries. So in conclusion, Patrick Mahomes can throw the football pretty damn well, and unless his brother or wife does something brain dead, everything should be just fine. Oh my god! So, this is another team that will be absolutely swimming in the slaughterhouse in the AFC West. Derek Carr has got to be the worst quarterback in the division, but that's not a diss. He's still going to have by far the best chance since his injury to prove how great he can be when given the chance to shine. Adding players like Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones, as well as new personnel at offensive and defensive coordinator and a new head coach who struggled during his last head coaching job, makes this Raiders team the biggest boomer bust squad in the AFC West. But this team still has a ton of holes, as they lost Casey Hayward to free agency and have one of the mustiest O-lines in the league, so the wheels could fall off of this team, but they also might not. Maybe Derek Carr is able to reignite his college connection with Devontae Adams, and the over-talented offense of those previous two guys, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, and your local Planet Fitness dad can single-handedly win a ton of games for the Raiders. But at least it's not physically possible for things to get worse than they did last year. So as long as half the team doesn't go to jail, become racist, and threaten fans on Instagram Live, the Raiders should have a very good team. Should. Now, for how many years? How many years are we going to fall for the Chargers having the best team on paper and then they just ruin it all? How long, Chargers? Because from a roster standpoint, they have one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league, an elite running back, elite receivers, a great young O-line, new acquisitions like JC Jackson, and a former defensive player of the year in Khalil Mack to add to an already awesome defense led by Joey Bosa. You guys should be amazing. Not to mention, they're led by a coach who has already proven that he's willing to live and die by analytics and has had a lot of time to improve himself and his schemes to even better suit the talent on his roster. So as long as the Chargers don't continue to have historically the worst special teams unit in the history of football, then maybe they'll finally be able to live up to people's expectations and make it to the Super Bowl. But that's the thing with this Chargers team. Every year they look like the best team in the league, and I don't know how to explain it, but somehow, someway, the Chargers just Charger. I mean, what if they didn't call that timeout? So let's get this out of the way first. The Broncos are a really, really good team. Maybe great, but in the context of this AFC West division, the Broncos very likely just don't have enough talent. And if they can't land on their own 2 feet immediately with a new coaching staff and Russell Wilson coming in at quarterback, then they're going to get cannibalized instantly by the rest of their division. So that's the negative side, but maybe, just maybe, this can be the year that Russell Wilson finally breaks through. With a completely new personnel running the team, Russell Wilson can hopefully maximize the talent that he has on the O-line, use Marshawn 2.0 and Javonte Williams, as well as 2 very good wide receivers headlining the most talented offense he's ever had to possibly lead this Broncos team to the playoffs. And I think all of this gives Russell Wilson a great chance to win the MVP. Now, with that being said, there's really no excuses for this Denver team. No longer do you have the most incompetent man to play the quarterback position in Drew Lock at quarterback, and hopefully guys like Courtland Sutton and Bradley Chubb can stay healthy and keep the Broncos in contention to maybe have a chance in this division. It's not looking great though. So the NFC video will be up next week, but until then, if you enjoyed this video, then like and comment because it really helps the channel a lot. And if you think I've earned it, subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to stick around. Also, if you like this video, and if you're still here, then you probably did, so watch this video right here on the complete evolution of the running back position. It's a great video, trust me. Anyways, until next time.